시작해요?
And in Korean or English? English, right? English, okay, yeah. You want me to smile?
이 이야기는 코리안 아메리칸으로 불리는 재미 한인들의 내용입니다.
Parents wanted me to have 완전히 미국 사람. They wanted me to be really American.
안녕하세요. 제 이름은 크리스토 하나 킴입니다. And I am a proud Korean and American novelist.
여기 방금 바로 앞에 쥐가 하나 지나갔는데 길거리에 밤에는 그냥 쥐밖에 없어요. 네, 사람보다 쥐가 훨씬 더 많다고 하니까.
미국에서 태어난 저도 그중 한 명이죠.
I am someone who is curious about Korean food and American food, and so I guess that makes me a Korean American chef.
I'm a Korean American rabbi.
정체성의 혼란을 딛고 일어나 자신만의 새로운 삶을 개척한 재미 한인들. 뉴욕부터 하와이, 샌프란시스코, 워싱턴 DC까지 저마다의 방식들로 내일을 그려가는 코리안 아메리칸. 그들의 위대한 여정을 지금 만나러 갑니다. 뉴욕에서 변호사를 하다 현재 다큐멘터리 영화 감독이라는 인생을 살아가게 된 저는 얼마 전 저와 비슷하게 인생 2망을 개척 중인 한 사람을 알게 되었습니다. 교사에서 소설가로 살아가고 있는 그녀가 즐겨 찾는 한 공원에서 그녀를 만나기로 했는데요.
전 진짜 가깝게 여기 살아요. 10분 걸어가면 10분 저기. 그리고 일요일에는 가족들이 많이 와서 여기 피크닉을 해요. 그래서 그건 이렇게 여기 다 같이 앉아서 먹고 이렇게 선셋을 보고 너무 컴해요. 컴해서 좋아요. 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. 반갑습니다.
Yeah, congratulations again, your
Thank you.
pregnancy.
Oh, thank
yeah.
you. 감사합니다.
Yeah, I know. Third boy.
네. Third boy.
I see.
So
Two wasn't difficult enough for you. Yeah,
it's gonna be fun and tiring.
I see. Oh,
Yeah.
sure. No, I feel you.
Yeah. You have a newborn.
Newborn. So they're gonna be friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be born
yeah,
in the same year.
they
Yeah,
are. Yes.
you're expecting this
No,
year.
2026.
Okay, I see.
So.
It's still fun. 저는 다큐멘터리 감독으로 살고 있는 전후석, 영문 이름은 조세프 전이라고 합니다. 예전에 어떤 아는 지인께서 저한테 이런 질문을 하셨어요. 그래서 나는 다른 사람들이 나를 볼 때 그냥 성공한 창업인 이거 하나로 나를 기억한다. 너는 어떻게 기억되고 싶니? 저는 디아스포라로 기억되고 싶어요. 이런 말을 하니까 되게 굉장히 갸우뚱하셨던 기억이 있거든요.
We just found out that our host is actually Korean Cuban, third generation. And she doesn't speak Korean, but she's fully Korean. It's amazing. Korean diaspora.
평범했던 제 인생이 뒤바뀐 건 쿠바 여행에서 우연히 만난 바로 이분 때문이었습니다. 그를 통해 안개 속에 있던 제 인생에 길을 찾게 된 느낌이었죠.
디아스포라 친구들이 늘 태어나서 죽을 때까지 고민하는 이슈예요. 나는 누구인가? 나의 수식어는 무엇인가? 근데 쿠바에서 만난 그 택시기사의 아버지 헤로니모 이문조 선생님께서 그 답을 갖고 있다고 생각했어요.
헤로니모 이문조 선생이 보여준 디아스포라의 삶이 제 첫 번째 작품이 됐습니다.
She came here, yeah, sure, similar to me. But I was like here for college, but she finished her college and yeah, I went back to Cuba like 6 times and filmed over the span of 3 years, full time.
Full time?
Full time, yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy because my parents thought, "What are you doing? You're practicing law at one moment, and now you're doing this." But it ended up having a theatrical release in Korea.
That's
And
amazing.
Tell me more about have you always wanted to be a writer?
I've always wanted to be a writer.
I see.
I've always loved language. I think it's because Korean was my first language.
I see.
So 5살 때까지는 한국말만 했어요.
네.
You know, and my 외할머니 and I are really close. And when I was little, she came to America to take care of me. She stayed with us for about 2 years, so a long time. So
Very much like Minari in a way.
yeah. And so we're really close.
I see.
And she was a teenager during the Korean War. And she would tell me stories of having to flee, and her and her mother having to flee, how hungry they were. She's an incredible storyteller. So she would tell me like very vivid stories of like the first time she saw a plane hiding under a pumpkin leaf. And she would kind of say it in this funny way of like, imagine thinking that a pumpkin leaf can save you, you know?
wow.
Or she would tell me stories of
한국 전쟁을 몸소 겪었던 그녀의 외조모가 들려준 동화 같은 이야기. 호박잎 아래 어머니와 숨어 전투기를 바라본 생생한 이야기 보따리가 재미한인 2세로 살아가는 손녀의 소설이 됐답니다.
That was kind of disorienting for me because when I was really young in elementary school, we ate only Korean food at home. We spoke Korean at home. I wore hanbok for, holidays. And then when I went to school, everyone's like, "Are you Chinese? Are you Japanese?" No one in school seemed to know what Korea was. And so that was very disorienting to me. I remember my mom would pack like a little toshirak and it would have like curry rice and pap and kimchi, and I'd be embarrassed. Yeah, exactly. So I do think I had all these like questions about being Korean and how come being Korean at home is so important and then outside in public doesn't seem to like resonate.
미국인과 한국인 사이에서 저와 같은 고민을 겪어온 그녀. 어쩌면 재미한인 2세인 우리 모두가 경험한 성장통이었을 겁니다. 그리고 지금 만나러 가는 이 사람 역시 우리와 같이 유년 시절 정체성의 고뇌를 안고 자란 분이죠.
지금 미국에서 재미한인들 중 가장 영향력 있는 목소리를 내는 걸 뵈는데 저도 긴장이 되고.
지난해 일론 머스크 전기와 함께 미국 내에서 베스트셀러에 오른 책의 저자이자 세계적인 리더십 전문가 제임스 리를 만났습니다.
Great to see you in New York. Yeah, first time getting together.
Yeah. Hi, I'm James Rhee. I'm a creative and a Korean American.
So today, I'm going to talk about the word goodwill.
하버드 학부와 로스쿨을 졸업하고 미국 사회 핵심 주류로 꼽히는 대형 사모펀드 투자자를 거쳐 쇠락해 가던 기업을 되살린 사업가이기도 하죠.
Well, I think like a lot of immigrants from that time, things like kimchi, gochujang, they were embarrassing and just embarrassing to have in the house. So my mother used to hide the kimchi smell and all of those things that you've heard. I'm sure a lot of Korean kids, we had that. It's one of these things that as a kid you look at it, it was very mixed signals, right? It was my parents wanted me to have 완전히 미국 사람, they wanted me to be really American. But they equated that to being successful. And I would sort of, it's confusing, right? Because what you're saying is that being Korean is not successful.
그 이유는 대체 무엇이었을까요?
Grew up on Long Island, public school. We were the only Korean family, only minority, really.
유일한 소수자에서 주류가 되고자 애써온 그.
You know, I went to Harvard College, which my parents, you know, for them, it was, wow, you went to Harvard College and traditional success, conventional success with like true success. So my conventional success, yes, I went to Harvard. I went twice.
하버드 로스쿨 졸업 후 더욱 높은 곳을 향해 갔죠.
And then was in finance and private equity for a long time. Tall buildings. There weren't many people that looked like me in private equity in Boston. I've generally always been the only one in a lot of the rooms. I'm at the height of my conventional success.
Generally speaking, first generation, that of academic success, economic stability, breaking into the mainstream, etc. Went to Harvard, but you detail in your book, once you decided to become a teacher, there was this hint of disappointment in the eyes of your dad, especially.
Yeah.
In the eyes of Korean immigrants, it's like, what are you doing, James, right? We put you through all these education, now you finally made it.
Chokchana, James, look at everything you accomplished. Wow, you went to Harvard. You went to Harvard twice. They were very proud of me. They were proud of, themselves that they did this. Look what they did. I mean, they survived a war. They came here. They were one of the first Korean people here. My dad set up his own practice from scratch. He didn't speak any English. He did it. All the insurance, he did it. Look what they did. Dad, Mom, you've lived such a big life. You think I'm living a big life. No, like you lived the biggest life.
관습적인 성공 너머 진정한 삶 속의 성공을 보여준 부모님. 그렇기에 그는 하버드를 나와 교사를 택했고 성공한 사모펀드 투자자에서 적자에서 벗어나지 못했던 흑인 여성들의 플러스 사이즈 기업의 CEO가 되는 특별한 길을 걸었습니다.
And when I asked them, I said, why did you trust me? They said to me, we could feel it. They said, you have a lot of soul. We could feel your heart. You have a big heart, right? And I said, oh, in Korean, that's called cham. Is that what you're saying? They said, yeah, we feel there's something. And I said, the thing you like the most about me is the most Korean.
Wow.
Right? And that was a very big aha. They said, wow, the way that you are, how you treat your people. I said, it's really the old Korean way that I treat people. Who am I? I really found myself again. So, and when you do that, when you really find who you are, I'm very proud to be Korean. It's part of who I am as success.
완벽한 미국인이 아닌 미국인 그리고 동시에 한국인임을 알게 된 후 진정한 성공의 길을 걷게 됐다는 그였습니다. 현재 그의 모습 뒤엔 무수한 고민의 밤이 있었고 긴 밤 고뇌의 터널 끝엔 어둠을 뚫고 나온 새벽과 같이 자신을 오롯이 바라보게 된 깨달음이 있었겠죠.
에드워드 리 셰프님을 만나러 지금 뉴욕에서 DC로 가는 길입니다. 기차를 타고 저희가 DC까지 한 3-4시간 걸리는데 이제 에드워드 리 셰프님 만날 생각에 설레고 어제 잠도 잘 제대로 못 잤어요. 15분 뒤에 기차를 탈 수 있네요. 네. 흑백 요리사 때 제가 완전히 반했죠. 왜냐면 그분이 말씀하셨던 비빔인간, 저는 재미 한인 혹은 디아스포라들의 이중, 다중 정체성을 정말 잘 표현한 그런 단어라고 생각했기 때문에 에드워드 리 셰프님이 하시는 요리와 그리고 그의 정체성에서
저도 많은 영감을 받았기 때문에 그래서 설레었던 것 같습니다. 비비민간이란 단어로 재미한인의 이중 정체성을 표현해 제게 신선한 충격을 줬던 에드워드 리 셰프를 만나러 왔습니다.
Hello. Thank you, chef.
저는 비빔 인간입니다.
I'm Chef Edward Lee, and I am someone who is curious about Korean food and American food, and so I guess that makes me a Korean American chef.
I just have 3 more questions. 비빔인간. You got Instagram messaging from Koreans in Brazil, Argentina, everywhere. It really resonated with all of us. Did you always think about yourself? What are the ingredients of bibimbap in you?
No, I mean, I've always thought of myself as a collaboration or as a amalgam. Sometimes when I go to Korea and I see someone who is 100% Korean, I get very jealous because I go, the Korean person just 100% knows I am Korean. There is no identity crisis. And I think with newer immigrants, we always have this idea of like, am I American? Am I American enough? Am I not Korean? Should I be more Korean? Should I speak more Korean? I feel guilty if I speak too much Korean or if I don't speak Korean. Very unique struggle that Korean people don't have, American people don't have. But as I grow older and also as a chef in my career, I think there's a freedom in it too. I can explore things and do things that other people can't because I have 2 identities. And so there are pros and cons to it. And I don't, when I cook Korean food, because I'm not 100% Korean, I'm not expected to cook traditional food. And if I make my kimchi a little bit differently, they don't get as upset at me, you know? And I think part of that allows me the freedom to explore in different ways. And so that to me is an advantage.
이중 정체성 안에서 오히려 자유로움을 깨닫게 되면서 독창적인 자신만의 음식의 세계를 열게 됐다는 에드워드 리 셰프인데요.
So I'm going to make you a quick noodle dish. So this is something that is very popular at the restaurant now. So basically we make a lot of the dishes that we're making at Shia reference like Korean flavors that I've had as a kid. We're doing a cold noodle dish, but it is flavored with mugwort powder, so soup, black sesame, and sundubu sauce that goes over the top. Say again?
어떤 맛일지 궁금해지네요.
Some caviar, because everybody loves caviar. So, you know, it's a very simple dish. To me, symbolizes a lot about my knowledge of Korea, my love for Korean food, and also sort of promoting this idea that not all Korean food is spicy.
검은깨 순두부 쑥국수, 한국식 콩국수와 서양식 차가운 파스타가 공존한 듯한 독특한 요리였는데요. 그 맛은 여러분의 상상에 맡겨보겠습니다.
Well, there's a freedom to it. There's a levity to it. Because I don't belong in one thing, I get to travel through both things. And so there's layers to it, some more complexity to it.
그의 표현처럼 그 어느 쪽에도 치우치지 않자 새로운 맛의 세계가 열린 느낌입니다.
Curious chef, is that important to you in terms of the context of searching for your identity?
Yeah, as a chef, it's important. But again, I think it's important because now that I have a daughter, I question what part of my Korean heritage do I leave to my daughter. You know, my daughter, wife is from Indiana, so my daughter is only 50% Korean, and I want her to be the best that she can here in America. But I think part of being the best American is also knowing where you came from, and so if I can give her some context of where she comes from, if I can give her some pride of her identity, and if I can give her some kind of a connection to Korea, you know, that when she gets older, she can also have her own journey.
So tell me about how you're born, where you're born, and yeah, your parents came over after they got married?
I was born in Flushing, Queens.
You were, I see.
Yes. And my dad immigrated here with his whole family of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Everyone?
Everyone.
My goodness.
Together immigrated.
Which year was this?
It was in the, I think the
70s?
early 80s.
Early
maybe late
80s.
70s.
I see.
One of his sisters came first because she was a nurse.
Sure.
And then
She invites everyone else.
she invites everyone. She gets, you know, the
Right.
legal ability to do that.
Right.
온 가족이 이민을 왔다는 크리스탈의 이야기가 더 궁금해졌습니다. 현재 소설가로 살아가는 그녀는 아직 세상에 나오지 않은 뱃속의 아이와 함께 2명의 아들을 더 키우고 있는 엄마이기도 했는데요. 오늘은 주말을 맞아 가족들과 친정집에 가기로 한 날입니다.
I love you. 얘들아. 우리 어디 가는 거야, 지금? 우리 어디 가는 거야? 할비사우. 할비네 집에서 우리 뭐 할 거야? film. 맞아. 할비네 집에 가서 떡 먹자. 오케이? 해솔이 이제 자고 싶어? 오케이. 잘 시간. 애들은 자고. Hi, Eric. What is your favorite food that we eat at my parents' place?
순대.
순대는 족발? 차돌박이? 할비네 집에 좋겠다.
뉴저지에 위치한 크리스탈의 본가.
안녕하세요. 아이고. 갈비 사우스.
할비네 집에 왔다.
아이고. 혜원이 잘 지냈어?
작은 어머니와 작은 아버지도 계셨네요.
에너지가 많으시죠? 닉네임이 골드마요.
아무리 개구져도 외할아버지 눈엔 그저 귀여운 손자의 모습인가 봅니다.
1976년도에 전 가족 이민이라고 해갖고요. 저희 부모님하고 미국으로 이민 왔어요. 저희가 일요일날 도착했는데 처음으로 그 차를 타고 그랜드 센트럴 맨하탄을 나갔는데 첫 인상이 굉장히 황량하다는 느낌을 받았어요. 빌딩만 쫙 들어가 있고 굉장히 황량하다 이런 느낌을 받고 앞으로 여기서 어떻게 살지 이런 생각 들었습니다.
그 후 무려 50년이 흘렀습니다.
아이고, 밥 먹네? 얘들아, 조금씩. 그렇지. 자, 조금씩. 어이구, 잘했어. 그때는 한인들의 숫자가 얼마 안 됐어요. 그리고 한인들이 하는 비즈니스도 거의 야채 가게랬어요. 프루트 앤 베지터블 스토어, 그로서리, 세탁소, 뭐 데일리 같은 것도 많이 퍼져졌지만은 그 시절에는 거의 그 프루트 앤 베지터블 스토어, 야채 가게를 많이 했는데 저도 와갖고 사람들이 항상 부족했으니까 그때 그 일하러 나오라 그래갖고 일주일 만에 야채 가게 가서 뭐 과일 쌓고 뭐 과일이 들어오면 냉장고 집어넣고 꺼내서 진열 때 잘 진열하고 야채 다듬고 그게 그 시대 교포들의 메인 거의 주 업종이었습니다. 이게 너 5살 때까지의 기록이구나. 어? 그러면 태어난 여기는 한 달 됐어. 1년. 아빠가 그때 회사 막 인수해 가갖고 정신 없을 때 너 태어났다 그래서 이제 일 끝나고 갔을 때. 엄마가
딸이 태어나던 순간에도 그 이후 어린 딸의 기억 속에서도 언제나 일터에 있었다.